Hi, this is Johnny from UltimatePaperMache.com. In the last video, I showed you how to make the armature for this dragon sculpture. You can use the armature if you made one with traditional paper strips and paste if you'd like, or you can use the paper mache clay recipe, which you'll find out at my blog, UltimatePaperMache.com again. In this video, I'm going to show you how I add the clay to the sculpture. I like to start with the bottom, or with the tummy, I suppose you could say, simply because the one issue with using the clay is that you have to put it down once you run out of enough dry places to hold on to. So I like to do the parts underneath first, and then I'll be able to put her on her feet and do the back. And as you can see, you can smooth it out quite nicely when you're putting it on, and it goes on like frosting. You don't want it very thick. About maybe 1/8 of an inch is plenty for a sculpture this size. It'll dry very hard, and it's very strong. It's just a little bit, how do you say, flexible. So I don't suggest that you throw your sculptures on the floor, but I have by accident, and I haven't lost one yet. But look at that. Now there was a big dip that was caused just by the aluminum foil underneath his tail. It was not something that I wanted in my finished piece, and I just covered it over. So we're coming right along here. I'm going to go ahead and finish putting the clay on the body, and I'll put a very thin amount on the wings, and then I'm going to let it dry overnight. And as soon as that's done, we'll start the video again. Hang on, I'll be right back. I'm just going to put a little bit of extra clay right in front of that eyebrow bone that we made when we created the armature. And then let's just give it some shape here. Since dragons are carnivores, I assume. Never met one personally, but I'm going to assume that they're carnivores. They have to have eyes pointing forward. And because I made my dragon way too small, I'm going to have very small eyes. So we don't get as much detail in these eyes as I would like. So in this case, I'm going to say, do as I say, not as I do, and make a bigger dragon. It'll be a lot more fun. You do the nostrils the same way that you do the eye. Just keep moving the clay around until you get them the way you want them. Dragons have rather large nostrils because they have fire coming out of them. She's a rather sweet and lovable dragon, but still, you know, even sweet and lovable little ladies have some fire in them every once in a while. The fingers are a little bit tricky just because we made them so thin using just wire wrapped with masking tape. So what I usually do is go ahead and add quite a bit more clay than I actually want in the finished piece. And then I go back with a craft knife and some sandpaper and use those tools to make my knuckles and your claws. So just go ahead and cover those up. Don't worry too much if they don't really look like fingers quite yet, because they will when we get the sculpture all done. Now, one of the things that I like to do when I'm sculpting the clay on a fairly narrow area like this, like the back foot, is put a piece of plastic wrap over it, and then you can go ahead and shape it through the plastic wrap, make your nice sharp claws like that, and then when you pull the plastic wrap off, well, not quite as sharp as I wanted it to be, you can see that it's a lot easier than if you were simply using a knife. One thing that I think is really interesting about dragons is that they combine some features from both birds and lizards, which almost makes you think that the first people way back in ancient times who found dinosaur bones intuitively knew that there was a connection between those ancient lizards and birds, and it took us modern people many centuries to figure it out. Now, what you want to do when you're all done, you want to put the last thing you do, if I can get that on there, the last thing you want to do is to put a layer of clay on the bottom of the feet, and then just sit her down on a piece of plastic like that, and that will make sure that the bottom of your sculpture is flat so that she'll sit really nicely when she's all done. And what you do want to do, of course, when the top part is dry, you want to turn her over so that the bottom of the feet can dry too. They won't dry next to plastic. As soon as the dragon is finished and all dry and I've had a chance to paint her, I'll put a photograph of her out on the blog. Come on over, join the conversation, ultimatepapermache.com. Bye-bye.